August 18, 2025. In the frigid waters of the North Atlantic, 400 nautical miles southeast of Iceland, the unthinkable was happening beneath the waves. A Russian Yasen-class nuclear attack submarine, the Severodvinsk, had been shadowing the USS Gerald R Ford carrier strike group for 6 days straight, maintaining perfect stealth at a depth of 650 feet. Armed with 32 caliber cruise missiles, 16 Onyx anti-ship missiles, and 30 heavyweight torpedoes, this $1.6 billion underwater predator was America's worst nightmare. Invisible, deadly, and now dangerously close to the world's most expensive warship. The Ford, worth $13.3 billion and carrying 4,500 American sailors, had no idea death was lurking just 8,000 yards beneath their keel. But when the Russian captain made one critical mistake, everything changed. Within minutes, the hunter became the hunted, and the North Atlantic would witness the most intense submarine warfare engagement since the Cold War. What was Russia's plan? How did the U.S. Navy turn the tables? Join me in discovering the truth behind 6 days of underwater cat and mouse that nearly triggered World War III. August 12, 2025, 0347 hours. The Severodvinsk slipped beneath the waves 180 nautical miles north of the Faroe Islands, her reactor running silent, her crew of 90 elite submariners beginning what Moscow called Operation Deep Shadow. Captain First Rank Viktor Kozlov had received his orders directly from Northern Fleet Command. Track the American carrier group, gather intelligence on their defensive patterns, and remain undetected at all costs. The Severodvinsk was Russia's most advanced hunter-killer submarine, 390 feet of titanium and steel capable of diving to 1,970 feet and sustaining speeds of 31 knots submerged. Her sonar suite could detect a submarine at 100 nautical miles, while her own acoustic signature was so quiet that NATO designated her nearly undetectable in intelligence reports. Captain Kozlov's target was formidable. The USS Gerald R Ford carrier strike group, consisting of the supercarrier herself, 2 Ticonderoga-class cruisers, 4 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, and 1 Virginia-class attack submarine. Combined, this floating fortress carried over 6,000 personnel and represented $25 billion in American naval power. The Russian submarine made first contact at 0623 hours, picking up the distinctive acoustic signature of the Ford's 4 A-1B nuclear reactors from 47 nautical miles away. Using passive sonar only, the Severodvinsk began her approach, maintaining a depth of 400 feet and a speed of just 4 knots to minimize noise. If you were the Russian submarine captain, would you attack immediately or continue gathering intelligence? Tell me in the comments. For 72 hours, the Severodvinsk maintained her shadow position, staying 6 to 12 nautical miles behind the carrier group while mapping their defensive patterns. Captain Kozlov's crew worked in whispered tones, every system optimized for silence. The submarine's anechoic coating absorbed active sonar pings, while her pump jet propulsion system eliminated the telltale cavitation bubbles that betrayed conventional submarines. The intelligence gathered was invaluable. The Russian sonar operators identified the exact positions of all escort vessels, tracked the patrol patterns of the USS Hampton attack submarine, and recorded the acoustic signatures of every ship in the formation. Most critically, they discovered a gap in the carrier group's sonar coverage, a blind spot created when the destroyers adjusted formation for refueling operations. During this period, the Ford strike group was conducting routine NATO exercises, completely unaware of their shadow. The carrier's E-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft scanned the skies for threats, while SH-60 Seahawk helicopters dropped sonobuoys in standard anti-submarine patterns. But the Severodvinsk remained invisible, her crew's discipline absolute. On day 3, the Russian submarine came within 4,200 yards of the Ford, close enough for a torpedo attack that would be impossible to intercept. Captain Kozlov's finger hovered over the firing solution, but his orders were clear. Observe only. The temptation was enormous. A single salvo of 6 Type 65 torpedoes could cripple or sink the world's most advanced aircraft carrier. Before you discover what happens next, please support us by liking and subscribing to the channel. August 16, 2025, 14:20 hours. Deep in the Ford's Combat Information Center, sonar technician First Class Maria Santos noticed something unusual. A faint acoustic anomaly, lasting just 3.7 seconds, appeared on her waterfall display. The signature was too regular to be biological, too quiet to be commercial shipping, and too deep to be surface traffic. "Chief, I've got something weird here," Santos reported to Chief Sonar Technician Rodriguez. The anomaly had appeared during a routine course change when the carrier group's own noise was at its lowest. Rodriguez studied the display, his 18 years of experience telling him this wasn't random ocean noise. Within minutes, the contact was reported to the strike group commander, Rear Admiral Hayes. His response was immediate. "Go to modified MCON. All units implement random course changes. Launch additional ASW assets." The USS Hampton, already on patrol 15 nautical miles ahead of the formation, received new orders. Conduct an expanding square search pattern using active sonar. 2 P-8A Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft were diverted from their planned routes, each carrying 120 sonobuoys and Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes. But the Severodvinsk was ready. Captain Kozlov had anticipated this moment. As soon as the American sonar went active, his submarine dove to 800 feet and reduced speed to 2 knots, becoming virtually undetectable in the ocean's thermal layers. The active sonar pulses passed harmlessly overhead, their energy scattered by the submarine's specialized coating. For 6 hours, the Americans searched. Sonobuoys created an acoustic fence across 400 square nautical miles. The Hampton pinged continuously, her powerful sonar reaching out into the depths. But the Russian submarine had vanished like a ghost, leaving only questions and growing paranoia among the American crews. August 17, 2025, 0230 hours. After 5 days of perfect stealth, fatigue was setting in aboard the Severodvinsk. The crew had been at battle stations for 132 hours, surviving on combat rations and 4-hour sleep rotations. In the engine room, Senior Mihman Alexei Petrov was conducting routine maintenance on the submarine's secondary cooling system when disaster struck. A valve seal, weakened by continuous operation, failed catastrophically. High-pressure coolant sprayed across the compartment, triggering automatic safety systems that slammed emergency valves shut. The sudden pressure change created a distinctive acoustic signature, a metallic clang followed by the whine of backup pumps engaging. The sound lasted only 8 seconds, but it was enough. Aboard the USS Leyte Gulf, a Ticonderoga-class cruiser positioned 22 nautical miles northeast of the Ford, sonar technician Second Class James Park was monitoring the towed array sonar when the signature appeared on his screen. Unlike the previous faint contact, this was unmistakable. Mechanical noise from a submarine in distress.
Contact. Bearing 247, range approximately 18,000 yards.
Park's voice cut through the CIC's quiet efficiency. Mechanical transient, consistent with submarine emergency systems. Within 90 seconds, the contact was triangulated using data from 3 different platforms. The Severodvinsk's position was fixed to within 500 yards, her perfect stealth finally broken by a $3 valve seal. Rear Admiral Hayes didn't hesitate.
"All units, weapons free. Prosecute submarine contact immediately."
0247 hours. The North Atlantic erupted into the most intense anti-submarine warfare engagement in decades. The USS Hampton, already in position 12 nautical miles from the contact, fired 2 Mark 48 ADCAP torpedoes in a spread pattern. Each torpedo, weighing 3,695 pounds and carrying a 650-pound warhead, raced through the water at 55 knots, their active sonar seekers painting the target. Simultaneously, 2 SH-60R Seahawk helicopters converged on the contact area, each dropping a pattern of Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes. The Mark 54s, smaller but faster than their heavyweight cousins, created an inescapable net around the Russian submarine. Captain Kozlov's reaction was immediate and desperate. "Emergency blow, all ahead flank, launch countermeasures." The Severodvinsk rocketed toward the surface, her ballast tanks emptying in a roar of compressed air. Noisemakers and decoys streamed from her hull, creating false targets for the incoming torpedoes. But the American weapons were too advanced, their seekers too sophisticated. The first Mk-48 ignored the decoys, its sonar locked onto the submarine's massive titanium hull. At 0251 hours, 650 pounds of high explosive detonated just 50 feet from the Severodvinsk's port side. The explosion was catastrophic. The submarine's hull cracked along a 30-foot section, flooding 3 compartments instantly. Emergency lighting flickered as the boat listed 15 degrees to port, her depth control compromised. In the forward torpedo room, 2 sailors were killed instantly by the blast, while 8 others suffered severe injuries from flying debris. Captain Kozlov faced an impossible choice: continue fighting and risk losing his entire crew, or surface and surrender the most advanced submarine in the Russian Navy. 0254 hours. The Severodvinsk broke the surface in a fountain of spray and foam, her damaged hull gleaming under the North Atlantic's gray dawn. Emergency klaxons wailed as her crew fought to keep the submarine afloat, pumps working frantically to expel thousands of gallons of seawater. The sight that greeted Captain Kozlov was overwhelming. The entire American carrier strike group had formed a circle around his submarine, their weapons trained on his crippled boat. The Ford herself loomed like a steel mountain, her flight deck bristling with F-35C Lightning II fighters and EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft.
American warships, this is Captain Kozlov of the Russian Navy. We are damaged and require assistance. We surrender.
The response from Rear Admiral Hayes was professional but firm.
Russian submarine, you are in violation of international waters and have been conducting hostile surveillance. Prepare to be boarded. Any attempt to submerge or launch weapons will result in your immediate destruction.
Within an hour, a boarding party from the USS Normandy was aboard the Severodvinsk, securing her weapons and taking her crew into custody. The submarine's intelligence computers, containing 6 days of detailed surveillance data on American naval operations, were seized as evidence of espionage. The Severodvinsk was escorted to the NATO base at Keflavik, Iceland, under heavy guard. Her crew of 90, including Captain Kozlov, became prisoners of war, the first Russian submariners captured since World War II. 6 days of perfect stealth ended in minutes of chaos, transforming a routine NATO exercise into the most significant submarine capture since the Cold War. The Severodvinsk's mission had been flawless until a single mechanical failure exposed her to the most advanced anti-submarine warfare network in the world. For Captain Kozlov and his crew, the mission's failure would haunt them forever. Their submarine, once the pride of the Russian Navy, now sat in an American dry dock, her secrets laid bare to enemy analysts. The intelligence they had gathered over 6 days was worthless compared to what they had lost in 6 minutes. The North Atlantic returned to its uneasy calm, but the balance of power beneath the waves had shifted permanently. Russia had lost not just a submarine, but the illusion that their most advanced boats could operate undetected in American-controlled waters. The message was clear. In the modern era of warfare, perfect stealth is an illusion, and even the most sophisticated predator can become prey in an instant. If you found this story gripping, don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth military analysis. Like this video to support the channel and share it so more people can see the truth behind the headlines.